Hey there, Trooper Stars. Dave Schmidt here. And today we're going to talk about drip investing for beginners. And I'm going to teach you how to drip invest. And we're starting right now. Alright, first I'm going to talk about drip investing for beginners. And then I'm actually going to explain how to actually drip invest. So you might be asking yourself, what is a drip? Well, a DRIP is a dividend reinvestment plan or dividend reinvestment program. And essentially what it is a plan that allows you to take dividends that you're paid as a shareholder, and those dividends will be reinvested to buy more stock. Now, this can be set up through a brokerage account, but what tends to happen in brokerage accounts, although some are kind of going the other way now, is say these shares go for $100 each and the dividend you receive is $90. You would get that $90 just in your cash part of your account because it's not enough to buy a share. With a dividend reinvestment program, generally speaking, the plan will purchase fractional shares, which themselves will then pay out dividends. Now, before I continue, I should mention that down below I'm going to have a link to some different books that'll really help you out. You can learn a lot from YouTube, but it's always good to have books yourself so you can go at your own pace, and they generally have more video or information than a video like this. Now, what are some advantages to a DRIP? Well, one of the first ones is that most companies don't have any commissions for these sales. And if there is commissions, it's very low. We'll talk about lower down in this video that you should probably stay away from ones that have commissions. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So no commissions for these transactions. The other advantage that they have is many of them offer a discount for shares that are purchased through the plan. So usually that's a 3 or 5% discount, and that'd be from those dividends. When those dividends buy more shares, there would be at a discount. And finally, another advantage is that many offer an optional purchase plan. And so these optional purchase plans allow you to send periodic, kind of automatic purchase of shares to the company. So you can really sort of do dollar cost averaging and just sort of dial it in and set it and forget it. All right, real quick, I'm going to be making more of these investing related videos, so make sure to subscribe below so that you don't miss anything. All right, now time for a step-by-step guide of how to drip invest. Number 1, find companies that have drip investment programs. The first thing you need to do is find companies that actually have this sort of program. And the best way to do that is to go into Google and type drip list or US drip list or Canadian drip list, and you'll find a big list of stocks. And these sites will have them divided down into which ones have discounts, which ones don't charge commissions, and which ones allow you to purchase stocks periodically, and what the minimums would be and any other stipulations. So just do a Google search and start finding companies. Number 2, select stocks. Alright, once you have your list of companies, what you're going to want to do is pare that list down to companies you actually want to own. You're going to be looking for companies that have a history of growth, bring products to the market that are relevant, and that there's future in those products. You also want to look for companies that have a history of raising their dividend and who have been paying a dividend for a long time. Alright, real quick, another side note, I'm going to put a link up below to another video called Buying Low and Selling High. Now, this particular strategy we're talking about today is more about the long term, but if you're interested in a strategy of stock picking and stuff like that, I don't necessarily advise that, but if you want some tips for how to do that, check out that video. Number 3, make sure you have a balanced portfolio. Okay, so also part of picking a stock is to make sure you have a balanced portfolio. Now, many of these companies are going to be larger companies, large cap companies that probably aren't tech stocks, for example, but do your best to balance your portfolio and have companies from many different sectors. Number 4, purchase your shares. Alright, this step is probably going to be the most work. It's actually purchasing the stock, and it's generally not as simple as just going into your brokerage and saying, I want to buy 100 shares of such and such a stock. Although you can certainly do that, but to do this properly, you need to get a first share, and the best way to do that is to find someone who has one who's willing to transfer it to you. And I'll leave that to you to find on Google. There's services where you can get shares from people for a very low fee, and once you have that individual piece of paper, you can use it to sign into a drip program. One thing I should note is make sure you do it in your name, the name that's who's going to be on the share. You don't want to put it in your spouse's name or something unless they're going to set up their own DRIP program. But just a side note on that. You can also purchase direct from the company in some cases. This is more popular in the US than up here in Canada, but it's certainly worth looking into. And sometimes you can buy those shares directly from the transfer agent. And once again, Google is probably your friend. Those same sites that give you lists of companies will have instructions about how to go about getting that first share. Number 5, sign up for the DRIP program. All right, the last thing you need to do is sign up for the DRIP program of the company of the shares you've purchased. Most of them are pretty straightforward to do that. There'll be some paperwork you need to fill out and send to the transfer agent. Some are getting a little more electronic in how they do those things, but I know all the ones I did, I had to physically send in paperwork, and I think that's still the case for most companies. Part of this step you might want to consider is setting up some sort of automatic investment program. Many of them allow you to purchase shares for as low as $25 or $50 every month or every period they offer that in. And say you're sending $25, but that's not enough to buy a share, it'll buy a fractional share, and once again with no fees. So that's a way to actually invest in individual stocks without having a large account. All right, just a final note before we wrap up is that many online brokerages now allow you to do this. Some even allow you to do fractional shares. So before you maybe go through all this rigmarole, you might want to look into what your discount brokerage online offers. The other thing too is if you have a cash account or a retirement account, it's worth thinking about how to do this. These kind of investments, at least up here in Canada, make more sense when they're in a cash account as dividends are taxed very favorably. All right, everybody, that's the DRIP investing video. Feel free to subscribe down below as I plan to do a lot more of these investing type videos and you don't want to miss anything. Let me know in the comments if you already do this, if you're interested to learn more, or if you have any questions. And feel free to thumb up or thumb down this video.